In 2023, I challenged myself to only buy 15 items in a year, and this is how it went. My main reason for doing this challenge is for minimalistic reasons. I consider myself a minimalist, and I feel like I'm at a place where I have a good collection of stuff, and theoretically or logically that means that I don't need to be bringing more stuff, because I definitely don't want to have more stuff. I like the collection I have now. Maybe I can even go as far as having even less. So I wanted to limit the amount of stuff that was coming in. And in June, I had already did a halfway point recap where I talked about what I had bought in the first half of the challenge. So if you want to see that, be sure to check that out. At the end of the video, I go into more detail as to what I bought and why, and my struggles and thoughts behind each item. So today I'm going to pick up at the halfway point and talk about everything I've bought since then. And then in the end, do kind of a whole recap of the year, how I felt, what I learned, and maybe I'll be doing another challenge this year, so stay tuned. So I had a few rules for this challenge. As with any good challenge, you need to set a framework. What are you working with? So number one was no clothes. I felt like my clothes collection was at a good amount, a good size, a good variety, and I wanted to stick to that. The only exception in general is replacements don't count. So if anything were to break or to rip, or for some reason I just need to replace it, then that does not count as an item. Then the second thing that I've excluded from this challenge is joint items. So I do live with Johannes, my boyfriend, and anything we buy joint, I didn't put into this challenge, since this is more of a personal journey, a personal challenge. So up until June, I had bought 9 items out of the 15, and I was feeling pretty confident that I might be able to make it to the end of the year without buying more than 15 items. So come July, I bought my 10th item, which was a ballet skirt. So I started ballet more than a year ago now, and it has really become a passion of mine. I loved it as a child. I kind of did it a little bit as a child, but I've rediscovered it as an adult, and it's been so much fun. And so far, I've always danced or worked out in a leotard and some ballet tights and flats, but I kind of wanted to feel more ballet-y and kind of feminine and just fun, and so I wanted to get myself just a very simple wrap skirt. And of course, this is not a must buy. It is not like I can't do ballet if I don't have a skirt. So this really was more of a luxury and an add-on. And I did think about this for quite some time before going ahead and buying one, but I did in the end go ahead and buy a ballet skirt, and I do not regret it one single bit. I love it. And that was my 10th item. Then in August, I bought my 11th item, and that was a book. I was really researching and wanting to expand my artistic side into potentially a side hustle, maybe earning a little bit of money through my art, which I'm also really passionate about. And I was looking for a book to help me kickstart that, just to give me some ideas, since I barely had any knowledge when it comes to monetizing art. So I had bought a book that would hopefully teach me a little bit more about that. Then in September, I went to a really fun concert with a friend of mine, and I kind of got roped into buying a band t-shirt, but I definitely do not regret it. I'm usually not the band shirt merch type of person, since personally I feel like most of the time the merch doesn't suit my taste 100%, but this band t-shirt I really loved the style of. The concert was so much fun, and it was kind of an impulse buy, so I did go ahead and bought that band t-shirt, and I love to wear it day to day, so it's not just something that I buy once and then gets shoved into the closet. I really made sure that it is a style and aesthetic that I would wear out and about on a day-to-day basis. Then the next item I bought was on vacation, and that was another book. So we went to northern Germany, to the coast, and did a little road trip there. And I did bring a book to read, but on the one day we went and took a ferry to an island, and I had forgot my book in the tent. We were camping, and the trip to the island was supposed to be, I think, 3 or 4 hours by ferry or by boat, and I didn't bring my book. So before we got onto the ferry, I actually found a really interesting sounding book that I bought for the ferry ride, and that book I even finished not too long ago. And yeah, that was my 13th item. So as you can tell, it's not the end of the year yet, and you can probably sense that I will not make it to the end of the year. I am now really close to 15 items, and I kind of feel the sense of I'm not going to make it anyway, so let's just, not in a sense forget about it, but let's just go with the flow and just see how much I would actually naturally buy, in a sense, since I knew I wouldn't be able to stay within my challenge anyways. And since I've never done a challenge like this, I wasn't even sure 15 items was a lot for me or very little. So let's see where the rest of the year takes me. Then in October, we traveled to the Netherlands, to Amsterdam, and also to the coast of the Netherlands. And there I bought my 14th item, which was a beautiful bracelet. We had stumbled upon this little shop that was so stunning. I don't think I've ever seen a shop that was so beautiful. It was essentially a store that a lovely couple had curated with all of the stuff and things that they find beautiful, and it was mostly home things, and among the things were tiny jewelries and bracelets that the wife of the owner, or I guess she's also the owner, that she had handcrafted herself, and I just couldn't resist, and I bought that bracelet and I wear it every single day since that day. Then the next item on the same trip that I bought was another book. We had stumbled upon this little antique market or flea market, and we were looking through these stalls, and there was this used antique secondhand book stall that sold pretty old books. I think they were from the 50s or so, and the seller had this collection of spicy books, you could say, and I found it really intriguing to read spicy books from back in the day. I don't think that they were that spicy, to be honest. I haven't read it yet, but it was, again, more of an impulse buy, and I just found it so intriguing that I had bought a copy. I have yet to read it. I read the first page right then and there, and I found it really interesting. So yeah, it definitely is on my to-read list. Then the next 3 items, so items 16, 17, and 18 are again books, but to be specific, book club books. So I'm a part of a book club here, and we read books together on a monthly basis. And I'd realized along this challenge that I had bought books for the purpose of reading together with my book club, but I didn't count it into my 15 items. And because I didn't make the rule to exclude book club books, which maybe I should have, I have to count them in. So I had bought 3 books in total, so that set me all the way to 18 items. Then item number 19 is a headband. To be honest, I don't remember how I got to wanting to buy a headband. Don't get me wrong, I think it's beautiful. I've worn it a lot of times and I've gotten a lot of compliments on it, but I don't remember how I came to wanting to buy a headband. Maybe I saw it somewhere on Pinterest, I got influenced and wanted to buy one. I used to wear headbands a lot when I was in middle school, so maybe I had a nostalgic moment, I'm not sure. But this definitely also was more of an impulse buy. Then shortly after I bought that headband, I was in sort of a accessorizing spree, and I went ahead and bought some new earrings. I really do love them, but there was no need for another pair of earrings. This is now the 2nd pair that I've bought this year, which is quite a lot. And again, this was more of an impulse buy. For some reason around that time, I really was into buying more stuff. I mean, I don't necessarily regret the purchase and I really love them and I think I'll wear them for a long time to come, but it definitely wasn't necessary. I do have to add that around this time was also where I had landed a new job that gave me a financial push that I didn't have before, and I had already made a video previously talking about how I want to actively avoid the lifestyle inflation, which is something that comes so easily and sneakily, and it's something that I didn't want to take part on. If you've watched my videos for a long time, you know that my financial strategy is to spend as little as possible, and that's where minimalism really comes in handy, and to save as much as possible to then invest in myself and my retirement. But it is definitely easier said than done to avoid and withstand the lifestyle inflation, and I definitely saw myself being far more liberal with buying stuff and impulse buys and longing for things that I didn't think as long about as before. So before I would think at least a month about something before buying, and now it was more so a week, which is still better than not thinking about it at all, but I definitely took a step back when it comes to buying things I don't really need. The list goes on. So number 21 was wool to knit with. So last winter I had started to learn how to knit, and I've already knitted a sweater that was so much fun. I'm really proud about that I was able to knit a piece of clothing. So I want to knit another sweater, and I had bought some new wool for that new knitting project. Then item number 22, so it does keep going. This again was an impulse buy, and what I bought was a lip gloss. This does not count as a replacement since it did not replace one that I've already used up, but it was more so an additional one. And this is something that I did think about for quite some time, but I was just in this lip product phase where I was really interested in buying a lip gloss. I don't know why, and it definitely did not make my life better in any way. So I would also categorize this as an impulse buy, even though I technically did think about it for quite some time. Then number 23 is another bracelet. Again, 2 bracelets. What's with this accessorizing mood this year? So I bought a bracelet at a concert that Johannes and I went to. It was the second concert of the band that we've been to this year. They're called Leap. They're this indie rock or British rock band that are really cool, and their concerts are amazing. And I had spotted on their merch stand, here's me saying that I'm not a merch person, but again, I bought their merch. I had spotted this bracelet that I thought was so cute and so fun, and back in June or July when we went to their concert, I stood in line. By the time it was my turn, they had already sold out of the bracelets, so I was so determined in November this time to be the first one there to secure one, and I did. And once again, it's something that I've worn since, to this day, every day. Then last but not least, the item that I bought for 2023, and which is item number 24, so far beyond the 15 items, was a pair of winter pantyhose. So I wanted a warmer pair that I can pair with skirts. I didn't want to only be able to wear my skirts during the warmer months. So I had bought this pair that I'm really impressed by. That is double layered, since there's one pair that is nude, that is also thermal layered, and then you go over that with a pair of sheer black pantyhose. So in a sense, it mimics those sheer nylon pantyhose without being as cold, if that makes sense. So that is something, that is the last thing that I bought for 2023, and it is still in the wash. I haven't gone around to trying it out yet, but when I tried them on, they did feel very, very warm, and we're already really excited to pair those with skirts during the winter time, since our winters do get pretty cold here. So all in all, I kind of reflected back on how many things I bought secondhand, how many books, what kind of categories did I buy, since I wanted this whole challenge to be a learning lesson to see what my purchasing habits were, where were my weaknesses. And the interesting thing is that 30% of everything that I bought in 2023 were books. So a large chunk of it was books, which on one hand is good. I do love reading, and books are, I guess you could say, more helpful and nutritious for our mind. But I do have a lot of books, and I did also start a library subscription for my city where I lived in, so I want to make more use of that and purchase less books. And I think I want to build a challenge for this year around books. Then taking a look at the things that I bought, I realized that I bought 30% secondhand, which could be better, but it is already something. I had made a challenge where I could only buy secondhand items, or where I tried as much as possible to buy secondhand items. And that was really interesting, and that really set me up with a habit of checking secondhand first, since it's more sustainable, it's cheaper, and just better for the environment if the things circulate and is shared among us. What's the saying? One man's trash is another man's treasure, and it 100% is the case. I can't tell you how often I've picked up some trash from the side of the road that someone threw away, but I found so useful. Then 16% of the things I bought were craft items, which I also thought was really interesting. Definitely something that I also really love doing. And about 33% were impulse buys / not 100% necessary. So this is an area I could work on. All in all, I'm really satisfied with the challenge this year, with the results this year. Even though I technically failed the challenge, I definitely purchased way less this year than without the challenge, since I always had the challenge in the back of my mind, and I really thought about things more than I would have before, especially in the first quarter or half of the year. I took this challenge super seriously, and then towards the end I kind of slacked off, especially with having a new job and having more financial means and succumbing to lifestyle inflation. I was a bit more liberal with purchasing things, but considering that, I did pretty well and I'm pretty proud of myself. The problem definitely was that when I realized I wasn't going to make the challenge, I kind of lost the discipline and the motivation. So I think what I've learned for the future, in case I do another challenge, is to, if there's another challenge where I can buy only a certain amount of things, I would probably break it up into 2 parts. So first half of the year, then second half of the year, and then so that I can have like a little victory moment in the middle of the year that will motivate me once again for the rest of the year. Because I think 12 months in a chunk is a little bit long if it's a challenge where you can only stick to a certain amount of things. So previously I've done no-buy challenges where that wasn't an issue, where one year didn't feel too long, but with this challenge it felt a little bit long. So yeah, reviewing this challenge gave me so much motivation to do another challenge. So far I think I've done 4 or 5 years in a row where I've done some type of no-buy or low-buy purchase challenge. I've done no clothes, I've done no Amazon, I've done mostly secondhand, I think, and now only 15 items. So next year I definitely want to do another challenge. So watch out for an announcement video where I announce my new challenge. So subscribe if you don't want to miss out. And I hope this motivated you to buy less and buy more consciously and to buy secondhand. Maybe you also want to do some type of challenge this year. Thank you so much for watching and spending your time with me, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!